So what inspired us to launch the community garden is a passion for teaching youth how to grow vegetables and to have access to food in our community for everyone. The community garden was a brainchild of mine. Whenever I started back in agriculture, I was raised in an agriculture family. I was raised with produce stands. I was raised with acres and acres of produce. I moved to California, and I kind of was in a very urban area with high populations, with millions of people around me. And I noticed that to get fresh local produce, it was not like it was when I was growing up. So I started doing my own little small garden, going to the farmer's market, and I was shocked to see how many kids were kind of detached from where the food came from. And whenever I noticed that, I was like, wouldn't it be great to have a learning center and a community garden and a resource for kids to understand that they can do this themselves and have a healthier option than a lot of the conventionally grown produce, and be more self-sustainable. So this particular community garden, the Veggie Cupboard, was my second attempt at a community garden. When I first moved back from California, I moved to my hometown area, Beaufort, South Carolina, and I was working towards this goal of community garden. We had the city on board, we had the mayor. The mayor was offering us land, but the team just kind of fell apart. Somehow I ended up here in Barnwell because of a family member moving here, and I was able to find enough land out here that would make me happy. And I ended up here in Barnwell, and I kind of ended up at the Country Cupboard, which is a Mennonite-owned store right here in town. And after talking to the owner and kind of expressing the desire for starting a community garden, she kind of worked with me and kind of connected me with people in the community. And together we went out and spoke with a lot of people. We secured a little bit of funding. We had this piece of land offered to us by Holy Apostles and about 4 other locations, to tell you the truth. So Holy Apostles was this particular land happened to be in a central location in Barnwell. Even though it was the smallest piece of land we looked at, we really thought this would be the most impactful area to start the community garden. And the reason that is because kids could walk here if they wanted to. It's close to the schools. We've had walking field trips from the primary school right down the street for the kids to come here and see the community garden, and it's a lot of eyes on it. As you can see, there's a lot of traffic around here. So while it was the smallest area, I could see this area developing into what it is right now, and maybe a little bit more as we keep going forward. But the area right here is just a good location. Like, what was that? Location when it comes to picking a project.
So, can I?
Yeah.
Okay. So in 2020, my family relocated here to Barnwell during the pandemic, and I was homeschooling my daughter at the time, and I saw on social media that there was a group here in town trying to get a community garden going, and I thought, this is fabulous. I would love to be a part of this. I also grew up in an agricultural family. My family had a large farm just outside of Charleston. So as a kid, there was a lot of things that I learned spending time in summers on the farm with my family and my grandparents. So I just love the idea of bringing a small piece of that in town to where, there could be something here for the kids, the adults, the community as a whole. We do monthly workshops for kids in the area, any ages. Generally the ages of kids that we have come out are from 6 to 12-ish, but it's open to anyone. We incorporate a themed STEM activity in the garden. So 1 month might be about pollinators, which June will be about pollinators. 1 month will be about soil science and compost. 1 month we might talk about bugs, beneficial insects to the garden, and of course the basics of how to grow vegetables, how to take care of a garden, how to plant the seeds, what do plants need, the different parts of plants. So that program has been really, really a lot of fun to get the kids out here. And like Jess mentioned, we've had field trips from the school down the road where they can just walk down here. We've had a group from the high school, the garden club from the high school, come out and do work out here. So any opportunity that we can get the kids out here, that's a really big deal. We've been fortunate enough to receive some funding from multiple different places. Jess kind of got the garden started with some seed money from a local group called the Healing Partners Coalition, and she'll tell you a little bit more about that. And we've also received some funding from Dominion Energy for some of our programming. The Tri-County Community Foundation, they've given us small grants for our kids program to buy some supplies. We've gotten some great funding from SCASID, not only for the community garden, but also the hoop house that we have in the back. And who else do we have?
That's about it for the funding. We kind of Tri-County Foundation. We have also had one of the partnerships I really want to mention is our hype team.
Yes.
While we talk about the smaller kids a lot during our Garden Gurus program, is that we through Wholespire, we have the hype team, which is a youth team. I think they're 13 to 18, if I believe, and they've actually come out and done a lot of work in our garden, like the sensory wall over there, and they've been working on our pollinator garden, and they're also working on our herb garden. Yeah. So that is another. I don't want to miss them because I think that it's really important for other teenagers to know it's cool to get out here and do this stuff. But I think other than that, I think Dawn pretty much covered it all. One of our major partners in town would have to be Barnwell County Healing Partners, and they're part of Healthy People, Healthy Carolina, funded by the Duke Endowment funds. And they have actually supplied a lot of our raised beds. They supply our dirt on a regular basis to when it's time to re-up our dirt. They're actually working with us with the hype team. So they've been instrumental in helping us keep this garden going and expanding. Well, I think the impact, if I have to say anything, I would say the greatest impact I have is watching the kids react to them planting these vegetables and coming out the next month and seeing them from one workshop to another one grow. And even the little babies, I'm going to let Dawn talk about them coming out, because just watching her talk about it is just really awesome. But so that right there would have to be one of the greatest impacts, is watching the kids see rewards from their labor of planting all this stuff one month and coming out and doing it. Another one is the fact that the seniors are capable of stopping by here. We are in an impoverished area, and I love the fact that our seniors just know that they're able to stop by here and grab vegetables out of here without it being a problem. We tell them, please stop by. Some of them can't get out of their car, so we'll take the vegetables to them if we happen to be there in the car. So that's another impact that this community garden has had, is that it's really helping feed people that are on a fixed income, and it's given them a healthier option because we do not spray our vegetables. We use organic soil from a local from Humble Acres, which does an amazing job, so that we don't have to fertilize it with a lot of extra stuff that it takes people to do it. So giving our community a healthy option to have this resource here for them is probably another great impact I would say that this community garden has offered. We're really excited to implement what's going on with the hoop house that SCASIS has provided, the funding that SCASIS has provided, because what's going to happen is we're turning that into a hydroponic greenhouse, and we're modeling after a greenhouse I've done in the past. It's actually the same exact size as my last greenhouse that I had. We had picked that size just because I'm very familiar with it, and we wanted to make sure we had a high success rate on this project. And we're really excited about how much food that's going to provide our community as well. And the reason we picked hydroponic growing, we want to teach people that there's more than one method to grow. So being an education center, we think it's really important that they see different methods of growing. Most people only think of traditional methods of growing in dirt when they think about vegetables. Yeah. And we want to show somebody, if they have a small area, they can use a hydroponic 5-gallon bucket and turn that into a lot of produce for their family. And when I say a lot of produce, is hydroponically traditionally grows about 30% more yield than a ground grow, and it takes a lot less room. So this is just another resource for us. So we're hoping to have a greater impact on everything we're doing by utilizing the hoop house for that.